Welcome back to my channel. Today I would like to talk about fears. Yes, your fears. If you are working your day job 9 to 5 but you wanted to become a full-time artist one day in your life and you haven't done anything about it, you are not planning to quit your day job, you're not painting regularly in your spare time, it probably means you're not ready to take that jump. It's mainly because of your fears, I guess. In my case, it was because of my fears. It took me a few years to switch from working full-time in a 9 to 5 job to start to do my own project in art. And for the past 1 year, I have been doing it full-time and I haven't worked for other clients or companies. And it took me a while to adapt to entrepreneurial business owner lifestyle, or let's say creative entrepreneur lifestyle. And I would like to share with you my fears, and I would like to invite you to take a piece of paper and a pen to write down all your fears, so that when the unlikely case of the worst case scenario that something would happen to you and all these worst fears actually came true, what can you do? You can rehearse those fears like beforehand, so you know all your solutions and you have plan A, plan B, and all the safety cushions to prevent the worst things from happening, so that you have more chances of succeeding a career in art. And my biggest fear would be how my family and friends would think of me if I fail. And because they have high expectations and I would like to be the overachiever, and I fear a lot, like what if I become a loser and I couldn't succeed in anything. And I know those are like not realistic, because if you work and you have the skills and qualifications, likely you can't fail too hard. Like, it has to be realistic when you think about pursuing your art. And if you are coming prepared, it shouldn't be that bad. But again, I was feeling like insecure. What if other people think of me? And later I realized that families will always be families, and they cannot reverse engineer your genes to break that link, and they cannot stuff you back in your mom's tummy. And guess what? You'll be their family, they'll be your family, and it's just you can test as much limits and pushing the boundary as you like, and you will find out where the limit ends. And I have been pushing the boundaries. I haven't found where it ends yet. And guess what? They can be extremely tolerant and they can be extremely supportive unless you're willing to try to push that boundary to the limit. And in the case of your friends, if one of your best friends, let's say she just lost her job and she had such a reduction in her income, she's receiving half of her income, and she's suffering a little bit mentally, financially, and what would you do? Would you want to be extra supportive, be extra nice to her in that hard times for her? Yes, I think so. Would you unfriend her? No, I don't think so. And if your friends would unfriend you when you are failing your career, when you are coming through this hard time, and if they unfriend you, guess what? They're not your real friends anyway, so you don't really lose friends from losing your income or having a hard time, because it's just a great opportunity for you to test who are your real friends and who will be there for you, standing on your side to be there supporting you through the hardest times. The next thing is the social pressure. I grew up in China. In Asian countries, we have huge social pressure. If you're from a poor family, people can say, oh, art is not for poor kids. You need to have money to receive the training to succeed as an artist. If you're from like a mathematical, like STEAM family, like engineering and all the families that who major in the useful things or the guaranteed jobs, and they can say, oh, you cannot do art, you're too late, you studied law, you cannot be artists because you studied law and you'll never make it as an artist, and we're not a family of artists. Or people can be very mean to the dreamers in certain culture if you don't follow the code, and they can be very like repellent. And even in the art circle, they can say, you don't have art school, you're not real artists. And even within the art circle, you can receive social pressure, which is like the inner circle social pressure. And my solution is to surround yourself with different kind of people. For example, I decided to go to business school and surround myself with startup entrepreneurs. And they are the most tolerant, ambitious, open-minded, out-of-the-box, upbeat people in the whole world, I think. And you just want to be a normal artist, and they want to be the next Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, and Elon Musk. And who are them to judge you that you are out of your mind? No, because they are even more dreamers than you. And I feel very comfortable, I feel very at home when I'm surrounded by startup entrepreneurs. And this is my solutions to surround myself with a new social reality that is a little bit different from the social circle I was in, so that I feel more supported and I can learn a lot from people around me. The next thing is to fail to cover the basic needs. I fear a lot not having food on the table, roof over me, or clothes to keep me warm, or medical insurance in case of if I fell sick, who would pay for my medical bills. Those are fears from my childhood, because when I was growing up, my family were not really well off. Like, my family didn't have a family car when I was 18, they didn't have a house. When I was 21, we had the first property as a family, and I felt like maybe one day I will be homeless like when I was young. Later, when I moved to Europe, I started working, I received decent salary, and I kind of gained my confidence, because I knew that if one day I didn't succeed in art, I have to have a plan B. That is going back to my day job. I could earn this amount of money, and this is my labor market value. So I know that I am more or less safe. If I need to go back to the labor market, I will not die starving in the streets. And also, if I'm in a developed country, that I know there are social security, there are systems and organizations there out there to help me, so they will not leave me dying in the street alone. So I will be always helped. And if you are from a developed country, I don't think that you need to worry about covering your basic needs. But it's always good to think about those things. You need to prepare yourself a very thick financial cushion, like saving money or purchase an apartment or a house without mortgage, so that you know there will always be some amount of money there for you at your disposal in case if you lose your income. You need to have plan B and plan C and A to Z, all the plans that you need to cover the basic needs. The next thing that I fear is the FOMO, the fear of missing out. I have been trained as a filmmaker, and I've been working as a filmmaker as well, and I fear that one day if I leave the film industry and I would work in other things, in visual art or in other sectors, in other industries, I might lose my skills, because if I stop doing what I'm doing in a year, maybe my skills will be so rusted and I don't have the muscle memory to control the camera anymore. And I fear that I miss all the great opportunities of the promised glorious 6K, 8K cameras under 8K and all this fancy gears, the latest tools. I fear that I will miss out all of that, and not only the opportunities in that sector, but also the skills I have trained so hard to obtain. And I found a solution is to integrate what I know already in my industry and integrate it into my new job. For example, I decided to make a video every day talking about how to become an artist, so that I keep my muscle memory, my hands on my gears, my hands are warm, my gear is running, my batteries are charged, and at least the softwares are up to date. If I need to use my skills one day, and they're there for me. And also it is a huge plus if I can integrate something I already know from my past, and I can integrate into my new projects, so I have a competitive advantage against other creative entrepreneurs in my industry, because I know something that they don't know, they might not necessarily know. As an artist, if your previous experience is in IT, you can perhaps develop your own outlets in your spare time for your own art websites or some kind of fun projects on the side, so you don't lose what you already learned, and you can use your skills. And basically you're switching from being an artist as a day job and being an IT guy, a programmer, as a hobby. So you basically switched your day job and hobby 180 degree, and you're not losing your day job skills completely, so that you can still have that thing under your belt. That thing under your belt? Is that a right thing to say that? Cut. Now you have heard my biggest fears before starting my own project in art. It did take me a few years, so it wasn't an easy process to fight my fears and my personal demons. Just try to go to as far as I could and try to pursue it as a full-time career and become a creative entrepreneur. I would like to know, what are your fears? What are the things that are stopping you from quitting your day job and pursue your career in art. One last thing I forgot to say, that another fear I have is that people don't really like what I'm making, and I see the views and likes and shares and subscribers are not growing, and this is also like I fear that I'm failing my project. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you click like and subscribe and let me know what you think, and I would love to hear from you. Thank you very much for watching this video. See you next time.